recording. Okay. Someone else says we owe you a Porsche. Yo, please, guys, are the classes that good? Shout out. Yeah, guys, please put money together. I need money to buy a Porsche. Okay. So without any further ado, did you guys all receive the first bit of the activity we completed yesterday? Did you all receive it? The memo part. Everyone who's in this class, have you seen the memo that I posted, the solution? It's not the full solution, obviously, because we're not yet finished. If you haven't seen it, that's a bit of a shock. Maybe you are new to the groups. I will send it after this lesson and it will all make sense because by then we will be done with the application. Okay? So just to catch you all up, we were busy with the application of the application of elements of financial statements. Okay? So guys, are you guys happy with the definitions? Do you guys know how to define an asset more comfortably now? Right? Present economic resource. Are you guys happy with that? Can I please have more reactions? I know for a fact there's not only 2 people in this class. Let's go, guys. Energy. And also, please mute your mics, guys. Mute your mics. Mute your mics. Okay. Cool. Know if you can see the screen, guys. All right. Yo, system load is heavy. Hey, please don't crash. Computers crash these days. Yo. Okay. So let's get into it. There are still people joining. I'll admit them on my phone. We're here. Right. So this is the document we're currently on. It's a tutorial question. I'm going to breeze past this, guys. You should catch up with the classes on the videos I've sent. So I don't want to be repeating myself in every class, but I will basically take a quick breeze through. We have heading, tutorial question, conceptual framework, marks. This is how an assessment could typically look like. This is your scenario, all right? The first thing you do, ignore the scenario, go straight to the required and find out what the question is asking of you, right? So we are given, by referring to the conceptual framework for financial reporting, answer the following questions, assuming Gardens is reporting for the month January 2023. Then we have to identify and name the element of financial statements represented by 10 lawnmowers, the repair costs, the rent paid for February 2023. Provide the definition of the element. Apply the definition of the element to the scenario. Okay, great. We're up to date. So we've already completed number 1, right? We agreed that was an asset. You guys have the document by now, so you have the memo for that. I'll just crash through it by giving you tips. And then we had the repair costs, right? So if you look up here, you would see they got damaged and needed to be repaired, right? So yesterday we had quite the debate on what this scenario is. I will read it and then I'll tell you what we were fighting over. Okay. One of the old lawnmowers got damaged and needed to be repaired. Repairs were done on the 7th of January 2023 at a total cost of 750. These costs will only be paid on 15 February 2023 to Lungisa Ltd, who performed the repairs, right? So many people said this element would be a liability. Others begged to differ and said the element here would be an expense, okay? And for those who are new, your elements of financial statements, the 5 main elements that we deal with, all right, is asset, liability, equity, income, expense. That should be clockwork, especially for those who have been here since last week. Right. So I supported the argument yesterday by saying, since I had taught you how to apply an element of financial position, right? If you're asking what are the elements of financial position, that would be asset, liability, equity. Those are your financial position. Then your elements of financial performance, right? Financial performance is presented in the statement of profit or loss, by the way. The elements that are within your financial performance are then your income, then your expenses. Okay? So I ended up doing a application of the liability element as well, which I will read to you before we move on to the last application we have to do, before we can now then go into the application of the accounting equation. Okay, so yesterday I told you guys that you could definitely write it as either an expense or a liability. Just ensure that you apply it correctly and you would get the full marks either way. Okay? Right. So we're going to start, right, with the 10 lawnmowers. We agreed that it was an asset. I told you all to make sure that you understand that you break it up into three key sentences and ensure that you master where the sentence ends. First sentence ends at resource, second sentence ends at entity, third sentence ends at past events. This is for the application of the element known as an asset. Are you guys with me? Let's go. Are we together? Come on, guys, I need more. I need more people. Some people are sleeping. Don't sleep yet, okay? That's why I tried to make the class a bit earlier today. Okay, good, 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 good. Right? And then the next thing I emphasized on your asset application is the word because. Once again, we have done this. I'm not doing it again in this class. But for your asset application, the word because is your best friend. And in some cases, some of you, it is your Valentine because Valentine is coming and you don't have a boyfriend. You are sitting at home very lonely. Okay? Then I can now move on to the repair costs. Okay? So repair costs, we fought and we said it's either an expense or a liability. So with expense definition, we didn't get to finish reading it properly because our class came to an end, right? This is how you apply your expense and as well as your income definition. You must know that they are broken into two pieces. Okay. So you would write definition, application. Please pay attention to this. This is a key UJ format. All right. You would say expenses are the decrease in assets or increases in liabilities. This little statement here that I put in bold is what emphasizes that you would not get the question wrong if you wrote expense. And you need to ensure that you apply it as such. How do you apply? Well, the repair cost incurred is an increase in liabilities, right? Perfect. Because they, right, Gardens has an obligation to pay Lungisa Ltd. Sorry, let me just get this out of the way. It's very distracting. Right. Where was I? Has an obligation to pay Lungisa Ltd for the repairs done because they provided the repair service on credit. Okay, guys, please mute your mics. Everyone, make sure your mic is on mute. There's someone, I'm trying to read the name. Right, just please all make sure your microphones are muted. Okay, let me continue. So, I was here. Gardens has the obligation to pay Lungisa Ltd for the repairs done because they were provided the repair service on credit. That's how you apply the first part of the definition of expense. Then we further know that expenses are decreases in assets or increases in liabilities that results in a decrease in equity. Also an important sentence, and make sure that you substantiate or rather support this sentence in your application, right? Results in a decrease in equity other than those relating to holders of equity claims. Okay? So there is an increase in the expense account repairs because repairs were done on one of the lawn mowers. Okay? The expense account repairs, That increased will then cause a decrease in the profit for the reporting period, right? Okay, I repeated myself, will then cause a decrease in the profit for the reporting period, right? So it just ignores to decrease here. I didn't think twice, right? So it should just say will then cause a decrease in profit for the reporting period. If the profit decreases, there is then a decrease in equity. Do you guys see how I have fully applied the definition? Right? And do you see why, if you said expense and supported your answer like this, you would be correct? Can we please have some responses, guys? What's going on? Talk to me. Thumbs up. I don't see any engagement. Let's go, chat. Especially those that had a good day today in class. Okay? There we go. Lovely stuff. So everyone's happy. I'm happy if you're happy. It looks like everyone's happy. That's good. That's actually a first. Usually, there would be like one or two thumbs down. So I am very happy with the progress we're making. I think you guys are hearing me. I will go back now to the answer. Okay, let's see. Now we go to the other side of the spectrum. Okay, what is the other side of the spectrum? Well, applying the liabilities, right? Liabilities. Okay, so if you wanted to apply the repair costs as a liability, once again, right, with the liability definition, break it into three. All right. And one thing you'll notice that should stand out, a key difference to the asset definition, there is not a lot of because in this. Okay. Even if you check how they apply it on your UJ lecture slides, lecture slide 3, okay, you will see there's not a lot of because in the element liability. All right. So how do we do it? Then make sure you draw this box and present it word for word, bar for bar. Do you understand? Great. A liability is a present obligation of the entity. Full stop. To transfer an economic resource. Full stop. As a result of past events. Full stop. Okay? We good. Now, how am I going to apply each? As a result, we now a liability is a present obligation of the entity. As a result of the lawnmower repairs by Lungisa Ltd to Gardens in accordance with the repair purchase, okay, Gardens has a legally enforceable duty. You must mention the legals, okay, or responsibility towards Lungisa Ltd, which Gardens has no practical ability to avoid, right? This is a perfect application of what an obligation is, right? A legally enforceable duty is what an obligation is, in which the entity who is obliged to transfer the economic resource, right? They have no practical ability to avoid. Are we happy with that? Let's go. Show me, talk to me. What is chat saying? Are we happy up to this point? I need a majority. Let's go. I want to see 50 different names as they are. How many of you guys are here? 53, 56, I'm not sure. Okay, I see one thumbs down. If you threw a thumbs down, just throw it again so I can make sure. Let me see. Or maybe I was seeing things. Okay, I'm going crazy. It's fine. Right. Keep going, keep going. Great, guys. Great. All right. Please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Nokwetemba, your hand is raised. Would you like to ask a question? Okay, the hand is no longer raised. I shall continue. Right. So here we are in that within the application, we clearly stated what an obligation is. Sharp. Next, to transfer an economic resource. Okay, Gardens has the obligation to transfer an economic resource in the form of cash. To pay off the obligation, it has to Lungisa Ltd. Okay, for the lawnmower repairs. Clean. Happy? Chat? Are we happy? Are we happy, chat? Okay, cool. Right, let me move on. Someone wants to join the call. Okay, there we go. Sorted. The last part, right? As a result of past events. Okay, so now you're going to break it down. You have to break down the past event, rather. Let me specify. Break down the past event, okay? So, excuse me. The repairs of the lawn mowers done on 7 January 2023 in accordance with the repair purchase contract is the past event that gave rise to the present legal obligation of Gardens. Yeah? And in this case, guys, you must know that Gardens is the reporting entity. Okay? This is the date when Gardens has already received the economic benefits, which is them getting their lawn mowers repaired, right? So they received the economic benefits in the form of repairs to their lawnmowers, and as a consequence, will have to transfer an economic resource in the form of cash. Okay, and if we go back to the scenario, let's just double check. The costs will only be paid on 15 February 2023. Okay, so you can add that bit. Wait, let me see if I'm accurate in saying you could say we'll have to transfer an economic resource in the form of cash by 15 February 2023. But the reason why I don't want to say by 15 February 2023 is because it doesn't say they were told to pay it by. It just tells us that it's going to be paid by. Okay, so I don't want to now make it a statement that it has to be paid by then. We're just being told that it's going to be paid at that point. Okay, there's a hand raised, right? I can't see your name, Funi. You may unmute your mic and the floor is yours. Unless that was an accident. Okay, you see, this is the hand raised. If this is you, just lower your hand. If not, you can unmute. Okay. But seeing as there is no response, I'm going to continue. Chat, are we happy with everything I've said up to this point? Are we happy, chat? Come on, more reactions, guys. We want computers to crash. Okay, I saw one thumbs down. Right. What's making you unhappy? Could you preferably unmute your mic so that we move quicker if you're not happy? Because I see majority is happy. I only saw one thumbs down. So if that is you, please unmute your mic. Let me know what is confusing you and I will clear it out.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank
It's
you.
just like the explanation part. Like I get the part where um you give the definition of a liability. Like the explanation part is just kicking me. Like I'm so confused.
Okay, so that's the good thing about theory, right? At face value,
Mhm.
it could kick you for now, but trust me, after I send you this document, please go over it, right? Actually, let me see which slide is it. There's a certain slide, the UJ slides, in which it breaks down, right? So if you see here, it says a liability is a obligation. When you check in my application, what a present obligation is, a legally enforceable duty in debt, or the entity that needs to transfer the economic resource has no practical ability to avoid. Okay, so maybe nearer to the end of the class, or if you can just text me, I'll send you a screenshot of what you need to revise over so that this makes more sense. But since it's theory, repetition is a very strong key that you should have in your inventory. Okay. So for now,
Okay.
don't stress. All right.
Sir?
Okay, thank you.
All right.
And
Yes, yes. How are you?
yes, I'm good. Sorry, I was struggling with having my mic to work. I just wanted
Okay.
to for you to clarify for me here. Here it says a liability is a present obligation, and
Yes.
then on when it comes to the payment, it says they're gonna be paid in the future.
Yes.
Yeah, I just need clarification there as to how do
Okay. You okay? Carry on. Wait. Finish your question.
how do we refer to it as a present obligation when the payment will be done in the future?
Okay, so this is why you need to understand what an obligation is. Okay, and let me also clear something up for you, right? You might be new to the class. So, when you read the scenario, as you can see here, it starts with Gardens are us, Pty Ltd. So, guys, when you guys are doing question papers, question banks, exams, whatever it may be in relation to accounting, you need to position yourself as the accountant for the reporting entity. And in this case, the reporting entity is Gardens are us. Okay? Is everyone with me? Before I continue, thumbs up. Is everyone with me? Sharp. Right? Now, sir, why is it a present obligation? Because, right, one of the old lawnmowers got damaged and needed to be repaired. Ne?
Yes.
Repairs were done. Here, repairs were done on 7 January 2023 at a total cost of 750. This is when the obligation arose because of the fact that they repaired my lawnmower. It is now time for me to pay up, right? But
Right.
now, because I don't have the money on 7 January, I am now obligated to pay them when I have the funds. So it is a present obligation, right? I am now by law forced to pay them, legally enforceable, right? So
Right.
now I have to pay them. On the 7th of January, the present date, I'm being told that, A, I will need to pay up, making it a present obligation, right? In which we will settle this obligation on the 15th of February 2023. Do you see how it's a present obligation now?
Yes, thank you so much.
Not a problem. Everyone else, do you see how it's a present obligation? Okay, perfect. So it looks like we are done with the repair costs, right? We've done the expense application. And the last part, once again, another mark. Therefore, the element represented by the repair cost is a liability. All right? There is a hand raised. You may kindly unmute and I'll answer your question.
Hello, sir.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm well, thank you. How can I help?
So with regards to these type of questions, is it always okay? What am I asking? It's we can have like more than one answer, but as long as we are able to like explain it well, since we are
Yes. So what I'm going to try and do, right, is try to highlight the most important words. There are certain words that have to be there for the marks to be allocated. That is why it is it's very easy to lose marks in these type of questions. But these are the marks you should be bagging. If you're being offered 15 to 20 marks for theory, you should be happy because it goes down when it's time to present financial statements, when it's time to journalize, when it's time to do general journals, general ledgers. Okay. So, what I suggest, start studying today. Honestly, guys, the 3rd of March is tomorrow, and university time flies like it's so weird. Okay. Even when you're writing, if you're told that an exam is 3 hours, don't ever get excited by that because you will be shocked to find out how many people don't get the marks they desire because they didn't finish, or how many people are failing because they didn't finish. Okay, so start studying today. Get yourself acquainted with definitions like legally enforceable duty, no practical ability to avoid. Try to find patterns as to how, when we're saying transfer and economic source, what are the key points I'm supposed to look at in order for my answer to be up to the standard. Okay. So all I can say is repetition, repetition, repetition. That is my final answer, essentially. Okay, guys. Great. Now we've got one more to do. How much time do we have left? What time did I start this class? Okay, we should have enough time to at least do one of the accounting equation. Right. So, definition. I need some engagement for this next one, guys. Please get ready to unmute your mics, to type in the chat box, right, for this final one. This one is it's a nice question. Okay, for me, because I know the answer, but for you, not so much. I'm joking, guys. It's a nice question. I'm joking. You guys are laughing at me. Okay, let me see. Where am I supposed to go? Question. Yes. So, the rent paid on February 2023. Great. Firstly, let's figure out what is the reporting period for this scenario. For this specific scenario, what is the reporting period? You read here, transactions occurred in the month of January 20. Okay, so that's reporting actions. We are basically recording the transactions or reporting the transactions that occurred in 2023. Is everyone happy with the reporting period? In this case, the reporting period is not always a month, right? As I've said to you, it is usually 12 months. Great. Right. Now you're gonna find out why I'm emphasizing it. Where is the question of the rent? Da, 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 da. Let's see. Okay, there we go. It's business. The rent is 13,000 per month. At the end of January 2023, Gardens paid 26,000 Rand for rent, which is the rent for January and February. Ne? To Rentina Ltd. Guys, talk to me. Ne? From what you've learned so far, what element can we apply here? What element are we applying? Okay, I'm seeing answers in the chat. I want more answers. I want to see if anyone is going to argue, or are we all in sync? More answers, guys. Come on, talk to me. Unmute. Spam the chat. Let's go. There's 56 of us. It should be a party here. Right? Chat box. What is chat saying? But true though, it should be a party. Let's see. Right. Okay, yes, more answers, more answers, more answers, more answers. Okay, I see expense, I see asset. More answers, more answers, more answers, more answers, more answers, more answers. Okay, now you guys are spamming. Thank you, chat. I feel like a streamer. I feel like I show speed. Spam W's in the chat. Actually, let's test it out if I'm I show speed. Spam W's in the chat, guys. Spam W's in the chat. Come on, chat. Come on, chat. Yeah. Let's go. Come on, chat. Spam W's. W. Okay, cool. Let's not get distracted. Let's get back to it. Let's see. Okay. For those who are saying expense, could you please unmute your mic? By the way, can we please have a round of applause for everyone who answered, everyone who joined the class? The answer is an asset. Okay, clap hands, guys. So for those who are saying expenses, could you please unmute or type it in the chat box? Right? Whilst you're doing that, I want to hear your argument as to why it is an expense. Okay. Right. Okay. So let's see. I mean, I don't disagree though. I don't disagree, but why would you guys want to apply it as an expense? In this case, guys, right, it is an asset, okay? And there's two different ways we can apply the asset definition, okay? So we can either apply the asset definition from a prepaid expense perspective, right? Prepaid expense. Okay, now listen closely. A lot of you guys have been fighting about this topic. A prepaid expense then falls under the accrual basis of accounting, right? Essentially saying that we record transactions when they occur and not necessarily when, let's say, a service is provided or received. In this case, right? Um, Check this out. The rent is 13K per month. At the end of January paid Gardens paid 26,000 rand, meaning they paid for January and February. Nah? At the end of January. So you guys need to understand, them paying for January, right, clears their rent expense. Okay, because they used the office space for January. But they have not used the office space for February, right? So just to speed things up, for those who said expense, yes, you are correct, but say prepaid expense, right? And this is going to blow your minds. I don't know how to say this without confusing you, right? But a prepaid expense is an asset. Okay. The reason why, guys, please mute your mics, mics, mute. Okay, keep your mics on mute. Right. So the reason why a prepaid, keyword is prepaid, an expense is an expense. Like them paying for January, that's a normal flat out expense. Your journal entry would be debit rent expense. In brackets, you put PL. Okay, if you've watched the YouTube videos, if you've joined my classes, you would know that we touched on those topics, even though they are not yet the main focus, right? So you would then debit rent expense, brackets PL, okay? And then you would credit bank, right? To recognize the payment of rent for January because they paid at the end of January. But now, us paying for February is a prepaid expense because we have paid, but we have not yet used the office space. So it is an asset for two reasons, right? There's two different applications. I'm going to just do one now for the sake of time, right? But when I send the memo document, you will see both the possible scenarios that you would derive, okay, from this question. So, why is a prepaid expense an asset? You guys are asking. Because we have the right to claim that money back. We have not lived, or not lived, used the office space for February yet, guys. Okay, so we can decide at the end of January, right? Let's say we paid the 26,000. And then before midnight, we are like, nah. Actually, we're not trying to stay with you guys for Feb. Run me back my 13K. Please, may we have our 13K back. That is why it's an asset to you. Okay? Is everyone with me? I'll get into the specific application so it can clear out. But let's see the responses, chat. Okay, majority. Okay, good, guys. Now you guys are picking up the work. I like it. And I'm seeing that a few people who usually throw thumbs down are throwing thumbs up. So today's a good day. Okay. So now let's get into it. Now, once again, write what the issue at hand is. Sorry. Let me see. Okay. Rent paid for Feb. Prepaid expense. Right? Name of element. Asset. Okay. Once again, standard. an asset is a, I'm just going to do this for speed, present economic resource. Nah? Are we happy? Do you guys understand what PER is in this case? Let me see. Talk to me, guys. Do you understand what PER is? I'm just shortening it. And always remember always remember where the sentence ends. So when we are applying, right? Obviously, when I wanted you to remember the definition, I said perk, like as in the drug, Molly Percocets, okay? Percocets, Molly Percocets, right? You all know that song. But for here, when you're applying, please stop at present economic resource, right? Then controlled by the entity. Okay, clean. Another full stop. Nah? As a result of past events, right? Great stuff. Name of element, asset. So far, nah? 1 mark, second mark, third mark, 4 marks. Okay, cool. I think there's a hand raised. Yes, Funi, your hand is raised. Talk to me.
Yeah, so uh, with this transaction, if they had only paid for the previous month, we will record it as an expense.
You are 1000% correct, sir. 1 trillion, actually, not 1,000 trillion
So
percent correct.
so if I were to split the two and say it's an expense, and then for the rent of the previous month, and then the other half, and say it's an asset, would I be wrong?
Yes, you would, my good sir. You would be wrong because this is a full scenario. It's a full scenario. Okay. So, what you need to understand is, let's go back to the question, right? The scenario is saying, how would we record the rent paid for February? But if they said if they said identify and name the element of financial statements represented by the rent paid for January and also the rent paid for February, then you would not be wrong. But now they are saying, what is the element presented by the February rent? Do you see why reading the required and understanding it is important, guys? Do you see that, chat? Do you see that, chat?
Yes, I get it loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. I'm seeing some chat box questions. Just a minute. Okay, I'm just gonna read them. Yo, someone said woof woof. I show speed, type energy. Ash, I would like to bark to my full potential, but then again, I'm realizing that I'm teaching you guys. You guys end up running away from me. Um, let's see. So Mbali says, so rent would be an expense at all times unless it's prepaid. It's still an expense, but it's a prepaid expense. Do you understand? It's still an expense, Mbali. But if it's a prepaid expense, it would fall under the asset element. Okay. So basically, one thing that your lecturer said is that you must understand that there is an account title, so the name of your account, and then there is the element affected by that account title. Okay? So essentially, prepaid expense is an account title. It's not an element. The keyword is prepaid. Happy guys. Prepaid. Expense alone is an element. Yo, Sungile, why are you crying? Kali. Okay, let me try again. Expense alone. The word expense alone is the element, right? We have our 5 elements: assets, liabilities, equity, income, expense. When it's expense alone, it is an element. But if it is a prepaid expense, then it is an account title. So essentially, when you are journalizing, you will write prepaid rent expense. Do you understand, guys? Right? And then, So you would debit prepaid rent expense because it is an asset. Then you would credit bank to show how much of the prepaid you actually paid. Are we together? Slungile, please raise your hand. Sorry, you've raised your hand. You may unmute yourself to speak. Okay, someone said it's a payable, ne? Okay, I'll get back to you. Slungile, all yours.
Hi, sir.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm well, thank you.
Sorry, I don't understand here the rent part.
Yes. Why? What's confusing you?
Okay, rent is an expense,
Yes, rent is an expense. Guys, please mute your
but
mics. Okay, yeah,
but
carry
this
on.
one is the prepaid expense.
Yes, because because we have paid for rent for February at the end of
Yeah.
January. Nah? So we have not yet lived or we have not yet used the office building for February. So we can still claim that money back because we have not stayed there yet.
Receivable.
No. You're confusing it. Receivable is essentially when we sell goods or when we provide services on credit, right? Yes, the one thing they do have in common, though, is that receivable is an account title and it's also an asset, just like prepaid expense. But don't call it receivable because you do not have the right to receive the money. There is just a possibility that you can claim your money back. But a receivable is a right? It's an obligation by the other entity or the customer to pay you for the service or the good you provided. That's what a receivable is. Obligation. They must pay you. But here with the prepaid rent, they don't have to pay you. It's not an obligation. That's why it's an asset. Because an asset, if you listen to Kamo, she said potential. She made sure to emphasize potential. Do you guys remember that? Did you hear her emphasize potential? Yes. The reason why this prepaid expense is an asset because there's the potential that we can ask for our money back and use our money for something else. Are we together?
Yeah, now I get you.
Okay, cool. So it's a payable. No, it's not a payable. A payable is basically if we receive, now, if we receive a good or a service on credit. So a payable is the account title. One thing I want you guys to leave this lesson with is elements of financial statements. There's the 5 elements, and then there's the account titles that are linked to those elements. So a payable is linked to the liability element, right? A payable is the account title and it's linked to the liability financial statement element. Are we together? Thumbs up, guys. Talk to me. Okay, cool. Since they have an ability to claim the money back, isn't that not going to be an income for the business? No. Income, we only record income based on goods or services that we provide as part of our inventories. So if we sell our inventories, that is an income. Or let's say if we provide a service, when we provide that service, we get income from that. Okay? We do not own a rental building. So us getting our money back is just us getting our money back. It's not income. It left our account in advance. Do you see? It left our account in advance. So us getting it back, it just belongs to us. It's our money. That's essentially what prepaid is trying to tell us. Is that cool, guys? Okay, great. So we might not be able to do application today, but at least we are, no, sorry. We might not be able to do the application of, what's this thing called? The accounting equation, but at least we will be done with the application of the definitions. Are you guys okay? Okay, cool. Guys, thank you guys for asking question, right? You're giving me a run for my money. You're allowing me to do the job that I'm so passionate about. Okay, so now let's get into it here, right? I'm going to do so I did say there's two answers for this, guys. You can call it an asset because of the money that we can potentially get back, right? Or you can call it an asset because of the right that we have to make use of that building, to occupy that building, right? And there's a potential to derive economic benefits from us occupying that building because it is an office space. So when we are in office, when we are working, we are deriving the benefits of being in that office. So that's why there's two answers. You could either write the possible cash they can get back as the asset, or the possible the possible use they're going to make of the building. So now I just want to apply the possible cash they can get back so that we can maybe understand prepaid expenses a bit more. I have 6 minutes. Let me see if I can break it down in that 6 minutes. Now, cool. So we said an asset is a present economic resource, right? Um, the rent paid for Feb 2023 is a present economic resource. Now, because don't forget asset, right? We like because. Now, gardens has a present right. Here's my favorite part. Gardens has a present right to request their money back from what is this place called? Rentina Ltd. We further expand by saying the right? What is the right in this case? The right is the fact that they can request their money back. Okay? And then we have to expand on what a right is. Okay? The right has the potential to produce economic benefits, right? Because they will receive cash when, or let me say rather, if the money is given back by Rentina, which can be used in its business operations. Okay. Okay, someone unmuted. I don't know if you'd like to speak. I've got 3 minutes left. Right. Does everyone understand the asset part? We've dabbled in this before, but can you see why it's an asset? Because we can derive benefit from getting our money back. We can say, guys, this month for February, let's rather be homeless and invest in our business some more. Maybe we can pay rent for the other month. Do you understand? That's why it's a present economic resource. Ish, I don't know if I can cook in 3 minutes. There's a lot to type. Okay. Let's see. Controlled by the entity. Gardens, right? Controls the economic. Okay, guys, I'm going to do abbreviations. I won't lie, just to finish. Gardens controls the economic resource, right? Which is the prepayment of rent, okay, or the prepaid rent, right? Because it has the present ability. Okay, guys, wait. Let's do this. Guys, let me just explain this to you, right? For the visual learners, you will get your slide now. But let me explain because I have 2 minutes and I don't think I'll be able to type fast enough. Nah? Is that okay? What are we saying, chat? Spam W's in the chat, guys, if it's okay. And then I'll bark for you guys. No, I'm joking. We don't have time. We don't have time. Just jokes. So basically, right? Why is the prepaid rent an asset? So when we go to controlled by the entity, nah, we would say Gardens controls the economic resource, which is the prepaid rent they paid for February, right? Because it has the present ability to direct the use of the right to receive money from Rentina and obtain the economic benefits that may flow from it. Okay? Gardens has the present ability to direct the usage of the right because they can enforce the legal claim on the amount that was prepaid to Rentina, right? And they can obtain the economic benefits that may flow from the money that is refunded by Rentina. Okay, call is about to end. As a result of past events, the past event is the payment of the February rent made at the end of January 2023, right? And that brings our class to